What's going on, mate? How's it going? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea news. Oh boy, there is always a lot of Chelsea news at the moment. We're discussing Chelsea's new ownership, the financial model. Will Chelsea go on in the way they've been going? What's going to happen? How long will Roman be here for? Is he going to get sanctioned? Lots of stuff to get into today, friends. Settle in, get comfortable. Please do drop a like to show your sweet, loving support of the channel. You're, of course, all welcome to subscribe to this channel, Football Therapy. So make sure you do and take a moment and listen to this. Hey guys, this video is brought to you by the excellent and exciting game Raid: Shadow Legend. Available on both mobile and PC. And not so long ago, Raid released a huge addition to its boss roster, and it's Raid's biggest, baddest, and scariest yet, the Hydra. This unique new boss has different heads with unique mechanics. Scary. I love Raid Shadow Legend, man. I love doing the PvP. It's an incredibly exciting, high-octane game, if you ask me. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you use my link or scan the QR code right here, new players will get a free starter pack worth almost $30, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, and a free mystery champion straight away to kickstart your game. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but trust me, they're awesome. You will find the rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. Check out Raid Shadow Legend now. Well, go check out Raid Shadow Legend, link in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lots happening at Chelsea. I'm going to read you a couple of extracts from a big article on The Athletic that Liam Twomey, Simon Johnson, Dominic Fifield, and more have all put together. It's a good guide through what's happened over the last few weeks at Chelsea Football Club. I want to read and reflect on a couple of extracts, but I urge you to go check out that article on The Athletic. And we're going to talk about Chelsea's £1.5 billion problem and where their weaknesses lie and what has to change under the new ownership at Stamford Bridge. There are potential suitors surfacing in the media, but nothing really that I want to talk about and reflect on yet, so we'll get onto that in future videos. Just do make sure you are subscribed with the bell clicked, so you are the first to find out about said information when I upload. Alright, let's read a couple of lines from this article from The Athletic then. Okay, so this is coming from an insider. No one knows who will succeed Abramovich yet, but this influential representative believes the model of the club is about to change, and it will need to become far more self-sustaining. Chelsea sell players on an annual basis to help with their accounts. However, there is a suspicion that they will have to cash in on some individuals who were previously not earmarked to go. Let's talk about that. So, Swiss Ramble, a Twitter account that talks about the finances in football. Most of you guys have probably seen this Twitter account before. It looks quite complicated and intimidating at times, loads of graphs, numbers, and percentages and whatnot, but it's really interesting. And he goes into, or he or she, the account goes into detail of the problems with Chelsea. Chelsea are, I think, the fourth highest in the Premier League in terms of generating revenue, behind City, Liverpool, and I believe Manchester United. City are number one at the moment in the last decade. Chelsea rely heavily on player sales for generating revenue. We've recently spoken on this channel about how we made so much money on Morata, Diego Costa, Eden Hazard, of course, the academy products that were sold in Fikayo Tomori and Tammy Abraham. The club really leans on that model to ensure they generate revenue. Chelsea don't have a massive stadium at Stamford Bridge. And although they have relatively intelligent, lucrative marketing deals, not the biggest, baddest, and best in the world. So this statement from The Athletic is suggesting that, yes, Chelsea will look to continue selling players, maybe the odd academy player that Chelsea don't like, Chelsea fans don't enjoy, and yes, they'll try and get rid of the deadwood. Like, you know, whatever, you're all the left backs you don't want, and your midfielders that are out on loan. But if they truly are to generate revenue, maybe a couple, you know, maybe they sell both. This is speculation, this isn't news. Maybe they have to sell both Kante and Jorginho and rely on the youth coming in. Yes, they're both in their 30s or whatever, but players that potentially weren't for sale originally might have to be sold. Now, okay, Chelsea is an attractive prospect for a potential buyer. They're the champions of Europe. They're the most successful club in London, certainly of late, and the best part of London as well. And they've just had £1.5 billion of debt wiped away. You're not taking on debt when you buy the club. That's hugely attractive, and that's why Chelsea will have loads of prospective buyers. But the buyers will be looking at Chelsea and thinking, well, I'm not going to do a Roman Abramovich necessarily and put 1.5 billion into the club to lose just to see Chelsea challenge. Something has to change, and that's what that first statement from the Athletic article is insinuating. Let's move on. Multiple sources in and outside the club fear key personnel, including Granovskaya, Buck, and Cech, will follow Abramovich out of Stamford Bridge. Inevitably, there is a lot of uncertainty and concern about these developments. For the vast majority of the staff, Abramovich is the only owner they've worked for, and despite criticism from outside the club, his running of Chelsea is warmly regarded and appreciated inside it. Of course, Roman Abramovich has backed everyone, should he believe they are doing the right thing. He's, so much financial backing. Excuse me, in by all accounts, quite a warm individual when you engage with him. Cutthroat to managers, but only for the greater success of the club. But in terms of looking after staff and, back in having the world-class facilities and a good working environment, people have felt comfortable under Roman Abramovich. We've spoken about this before, the importance of keeping a certain degree of continuity at Stamford Bridge at Chelsea in the transition to a new owner would be, paramount. Certainly Marina Granovskaya, who runs the club, keeping her for like a year or two. Cech, he's seemingly taking on that little bit of Michael Emenalo role, that connection to the manager, staff and players from the people above, including Granovskaya. He sort of acts as that sort of link. Very intelligent man, speaks so many languages, understands the club ethos as a legend. As an intelligent individual, probably is quite suited to a good role in terms of developing Chelsea and moving it in the right direction. And Bruce Buck, a lot of people don't like Bruce Buck or have this perhaps uneducated perception of him, including myself when I say that. There's he's got so many links and affiliations and associations with people in the in the landscape, in the industry, that it would be important to keep him as well. If Roman truly wants what's best for Chelsea as he leaves, maybe he'd be inclined to leave these people, in and around Chelsea. So what's next? So who next? Despite the initial noises suggesting Abramovich was keen to do a deal very quickly and the Premier League preparing themselves for that, on that, by the way, it's said that Chelsea, if they wanted to get a deal done quickly over the line, the Premier League would probably be interested in that, and the fit in proper persons test or the director's test or whatever it is could be as quick as 10 days. It couldn't be quicker by all accounts. But the Premier League would be interested in it being a quick process, especially with, provided it's not a state coming in, or if they're owners that look clean on the surface, they're like, yeah, we'll run you through quickly. That's what's been suggested here. And the Premier League are preparing themselves for that. Some sources are telling us that any sale could take several months. Right, now, that's not what I'm saying in terms of fit and proper owners and directors test. That is just a transition and getting the people in. This is not something to be suddenly decided this week. The decision has been coming, and his mind was certainly already made up during the Club World Cup in Abu Dhabi. Excuse me. Finding a buyer who gets close to £3 billion, to the £3 billion Abramovich is said to want, and someone who is believed to have the best interests of the club at heart, which is an important factor, does not leave that many options. Those in the industry are also very wary of supposed potential buyers who are making their intentions public. That's certain. rich individuals coming out going, I'm going to buy Chelsea, you'll see, Chelsea Football Club, I'm going to buy them. There's been a lot of that. Other interesting elements is that some of the consultancy firms who would normally be quick to offer their services for such a sale had some moral reservations about whether to get involved. I imagine that's regarding the geopolitical climate at present. So do not be surprised if Abramovich is still in charge of the club in the summer, especially if the sanctions from the UK government continue to not appear. So that is interesting. As things stand, Roman Abramovich is not on the list for UK government sanctions as a Russian oligarch. One could speculate, allegedly, maybe, potentially, that he's had a conversation with someone and understands where he stands at the moment. And maybe he's had some form of assurances. I don't know. I'm speculating and guessing. And if that's the case, because if he does get sanctioned, there would be concerns that he can't sell the club. And I think there's probably, again, speculating, there's this understanding between, owner Roman Abramovich and government that Chelsea is an important factor in, the UK economy in London. Hires a lot of people, has millions of fans in UK, I guess, or millions, tens of millions in the world, Chelsea fans, and they don't want to ruin Chelsea, so they're like, okay, look, just sell it, give the proceeds to charity, let's get this done, and this is the best way for everyone. That's what I'm guessing here. But let's talk about Chelsea's development. Chelsea needs to change in terms of revenue. We've spoken about the £1.5 billion debt that Roman was happy to put in and then wipe away, which is, really good for the club. Chelsea need to generate more revenue, and they need to change their model. The big thing is the stadium. They'll look to build a bigger stadium. Chelsea will fill a much bigger stadium. They've got a huge fan base. Like I said, the champions of Europe. Stamford Bridge is 44,000 or something. Chelsea could immediately put that to 60 plus, and be quite comfortable with that, and generate more revenue. They wanted to do it, but obviously there was complications when Roman withdrew his visa application in 2018. The stadium plans were put on hold. New owners would probably be looking to fire up those plans again, provided it was in a tasteful way and, and rebuilding Stamford Bridge in a certain way. The model has to change in terms of footballing identity, because the wage bill for Chelsea is far too high. Especially, it's far too high for players that don't play and aren't key players, and then you send them on loan and you'll still end up paying some of their wages, and then you've got, your goalkeeper. I think Kepa earns more than Mendy, correct me if I'm wrong. Your number 2 goalkeeper shouldn't be getting paid what Kepa's getting paid. Timo Werner, it gets paid, is our second highest earner, and it's ridiculously high after Lukaku. Both of them aren't featuring and scoring goals at the moment. You'll literally need to start being really, really sensible with the wage bill and player sales. Only buy a player if you really need him. Really tighten up that wage bill. Don't have any obscure players that are now on the fringe that originally were high profile and cost a lot of money. They're 2 massive factors already. Chelsea will look to still make money off player sales. They always have done that. And don't be surprised if Chelsea continue to try and sell academy players. Yes, that will make you recoil as a Chelsea fan, but they've made one of the best academies in the world, if not the best academy in the world. Imagine it as a finishing school, as Oxford or Cambridge. They don't all just go into the Chelsea team. Chelsea will look to integrate them into the world of football and make money out of that. It's part of their business model. It's a way they generate revenue. So, selling academy players, selling players generally they've been good at, hopefully updating the stadium, Stamford Bridge, and sorting out that wage bill and stuff. And yes, other things as well, marketing, brand deals, they'll have to look and keep evaluating that and trying to generate revenue through that way. I wanted to make this video to update you guys on where we stand and what's going on and what needs to change with the new owners. Hopefully I've achieved that. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts, feelings. I will of course constantly review the news, the headlines, and give you my thoughts and takes on them, and ask for yours in the comments. And we'll keep an eye on new owners, contracts, transfers, just the big story. So keep it locked. Yeah, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.